let's look at the rules on page 60. Break them at your own peril. Rule number 1, you must get financial commitment from your buyer for the first month's rent and a deposit. Never break that rule. Don't get their money, they don't get in your house. Rule number 2, they must pay rent regardless. If the house is condemned, they pay rent. If they're an investor, they pay rent. And the rent should cover PITI, even if you're not making the interest payment. And rule number 3, they must be financeable sometime in the future, or you're not doing anything but buying into a problem you got to fix later. Rule number 4, they must be able to get the repairs done, or they'll never get done. And you'll never get it to a closing, so why are you doing this? Rule number 5, never install a work for equity tenant unless you use a work for equity lease and option agreement attached. Now, number 6, never spend repair money until the repairs are done and you feel the tenant will qualify for a loan soon. And rule number 7, never count on getting cashed out until you receive the money, and you should run your business assuming the cash isn't coming. Does the cash ever come when you need it the most? Murphy, got a condo here, doesn't he? The worst you need it, the worst it comes, never comes when you need it. And if you've already got it spent, it ain't coming. Something's going to happen. Don't count on any promises made by the tenant becoming reality. Assume it won't happen and plan accordingly. And number 9, you should expect no more than 50% of your tenants to close, so prepare for a turnover. Don't be shocked when they do. Build and maintain a buyer's list, which you're about to learn how to do. Guys, I'm going to tell you, if you get 50% of them to close, it's because you're doing a lot of work to make it happen, and you're running a well-oiled machine. You know, I can give you a list of folks who would be thrilled to get 50% of them to close. The truth is, if they don't get 50%, they don't really care most of the time, because if you don't get 50% of them to close, you're putting an unlikely prospect in there to begin with, and or you're doing nothing on the back end to help them and lead them toward that process. You literally could probably get that up to maybe 70% if you run a good business, but I don't think you're ever going to get it above that. So be prepared. And in rule number 10, never ignore rules number 1 through 9. All right, so let's take a look at this lease option agreement, and no, I will not stand up here and read it. This is my sweat equity agreement. And it is in that website I gave you this morning for you to download. It is also on goffn.com. And this is the agreement that you should send to your attorney electronically for them to review prior to your first lease option deal closing. Your attorney will then take my agreement, read through it, and say, this is pretty cool. Stick it in his agreement file, probably get you to add or subtract something to it to justify his fee, and you will wind up with an attorney that he likes and you like. Be very careful about him taking stuff out of here now without you clearly understanding why he took it out. Incidentally, this is the work of 2 different attorneys, not just one. And yes, it was done here in Florida, but you will find it'll work anywhere with slight alterations, even Canada. So get it to them and let them fix it the way that they want it fixed. Now, here's the thing about a work for equity agreement, and here's a big word of caution. You never want to put somebody in a house that needs work with a standard pretty house lease option agreement. If you do, and you get challenged, you have probably lost the case because you have contradicting terms in that thing. It is customary for a landlord to be responsible for repairs, pretty much anywhere. Therefore, if your agreement says in there that the landlord is responsible for repairs, or there's any indication that the tenant is taking the house in good condition, if contradictions, you will not find that in this agreement. This agreement clearly states that a condition of the purchase, and the reason we're giving them the option, is because they agreed to make the repairs with their own money now and forever. It also states that their deposit is non-refundable, clearly. And if you will go through it and turn to the back, you will see an addendum, somewhere, addendum B, which is on page 18 of the agreement, back of the book. The addendum to real estate possession and lease agreement sweat equity program. And this is further to spell out the fact that they are taking it in its as-is condition with the intent for them to renovate it, and that is why they got it at a below market price, and on and on and on. Just further evidence. And in fact, on page 19 is a list of repairs that they agreed to do. You can simply put on there, see addendum C or whatever you call the list of repairs in your book, or you can just use that. Or you can take the one in your book here and use it to send to your attorney, and then your attorney can transfer that to here if he likes. He's going to do what he wants to do, or she. Now, look at page 20, and you'll see your real estate purchase option agreement. This is the option agreement that attaches to your lease, but is not part of your lease. Any attorney will tell you that the option should always stand alone from the lease. 2 separate agreements. But in any good option agreement, it also says that if they violate the lease, if the lease is broken, then the option expires. And it says that in here. And how would you like to have a tenant in one of your houses that you have evicted for not paying the rent, but still has the option to buy it? Oh, the language in here will prevent that. If the lease is broken, the option is void, and this option attaches to the lease. So, in fact, move on to Exhibit D, and you'll find the same down payment assistance program on page 24 that we went over earlier that becomes part of your lease. I don't notarize anything. My attorney does. He will have it notarized in his office, but to tell you the truth, it doesn't matter because it's not recordable anyway. And if they sign it in front of him, what better witness in court if you need one? So a notary is not even applicable. So there you have it. All the steps from beginning to end to a sweat equity program or a worker equity program. Next time you need help, you just go back to the book and say, I heard that in there somewhere. Now let me go back and look it up now that I need it done. Okay?
I'm Joe McNamee. I'm an active real estate investor, and I also teach what I do. I like to always say, I practice what I preach. All right, a little bit about me. I grew up in a household of real estate investing. My mother was a realtor for 27 years. My dad was in construction. We moved into houses. Mom would clean one room. We'd live in the house, and then we would fight the roaches, the rats, and fix the house up, get it ready to sell it. Mom would negotiate the purchase price before we started working on it, and then she would go to a back-to-back closing, buying it and selling it at the end of the whole deal. We'd move out. We'd do it again. I lived in the slums, what we call the war zones today, or the ghetto, or what have you. But that's kind of how I grew up. I learned martial arts. I taught martial arts at the age of 17. I was a black belt. You can understand why, because it was rough. I moved 19 times by the time I was 19 years old. We just bounce. So that was the hard way. I like to call it my blood years, but that was the hard way of doing real estate. And I continued doing that. I joined the Army, spent 20 years there, retired as a CW3, turned down W4 to get out. And I did real estate investing the whole time I was in the service, most of the time in the States. A few overseas deals, they were a little bit scary for me, so I didn't keep doing that. But every time I was in the States, I did it. This is my family here. I have a son who's 30, he's up top left, and a daughter who's 28. That's Mike and Megan. And then next to them, I'm all the way to the right. Next to them is my 15-year-old daughter, Heather. Heather and Garrett sitting on my wife's lap there, and that's my wife's grandmother to the left. Obviously, that's my wife with Garrett. Heather is 15, and then Garrett is 3. 51, I'll be 52 this year. So my oldest son and daughter, neither one of them are married. They don't have any kids or anything, so we say we're producing our own grandchildren. And also, Garrett came from a trip my wife and I did to Vegas. A conception occurred in the middle of that trip. So now we say what happens in Vegas does not necessarily stay in Vegas. But anyway, they are definitely, this is Diamond, that's Heather's horse. I'm sorry, that's Vicky's horse, my wife's horse. We just bought that horse about 3 weeks ago. And there's Moonshine, that was Heather's horse. She's, like I said, she's 15. When she was 3, she heard me talking to one of my subs. And his wife taught equestrian riding. And she heard me talking to him, and I asked the question, what age should a child start learning? And he said that his wife runs around 7 or 8 years old. So Heather constantly said, when I'm 8 years old, I'm getting a horse. When I'm 8 years old, I'm getting a horse. So Heather got to start learning how to shovel horse manure and all that kind of stuff when she was 8. She bought her horse at, I think she was about 9, and the horse came pregnant. So she got a 2-for-1. That's the baby right there. And we just had to bury the mom about 3-4 months ago. It was pretty tragic, but traumatic, but she was old. And then that's a horrible picture there. That's our office complex where we do a lot of our events and stuff. But that's just a little bit about me and a little bit about where I came from and what we do. I don't know how to turn that thing off. But hope nothing crazy comes up there, Ryan. No secrets or anything come up. I've got 2 college degrees. Make any money really per se from that. I'm an automotive engineer, and I also have a liberal arts degree. And then I'm the only person, as far as I know, on the planet that has a triple master's in real estate investing. That one has made me some money. But I've done well over 1,000 deals. I've done several residential, and I've done dozens of commercial deals. We've got a few industrial in there also. I sold the same house. The record now is 7 times. So when you control the house and you stay in touch with the whole deal, expect to sell the house over and over again. So we gave Ron a little testimonial not too long ago. We were in Vegas, and we gave Ron a testimonial on. Could you cover that up? Someone cover that up for me so it's up there. Appreciate it. I gave Ron a testimonial, and this testimonial is a little different. I saw all the ones that he had at his office. So ours showed a couple of our side checks. I don't know, it was probably $110,000, just extra money in just a month. That's not our regular money. That's just our extra stuff. But the checks below that testimonial is several different cash flow checks from houses that we paid off with down payment money over and over again on the same house. Does that make sense? I've owed a few $1,000s here and there, $20,000 on some, whatever. But the down payment money and then people moving out, reneging on their deal. I never go back on my word, but when they go back on theirs, we pay off the house, and then the cash flow continues from there. Then we sell it with owner financing, and it's pure cash flow, minus taxes and insurance. But 7 times is our record now. We got a few of them at 6, and I got over 2,200 buyers. And Ron's right. There's a lot of those are crap buyers. There's probably less than 10% that are good. But here's the question: which 10%? It is not the people that you think. Assume the whole world is full of crap until proven otherwise. So my point is, they can tell you they got $25,000 put down. They can tell you they can afford $1,800 a month. And someone else can tell you they got $250 put down, and they can afford $500 a month. But don't believe that, because the people that tell you the least, over and over again, prove to us, when they see the house, they fall in love with it. All of a sudden, all this money comes out of mayonnaise jars and buried in the yard. Grandma moves in and kicks in $15,000 or $20,000 or $30,000 on the deal, and she rents a room from them. All different kinds of things happen. So what you think is true is not necessarily true. So don't underestimate. It's kind of like judging the appearance of a person. Do they have private money to lend or not? Okay, same exact rule applies here. All right, I took Ron's training, and then we put it on what I like to call a double shot of steroids. We just went crazy with the things. I could not believe all these things were so easy to do from his training. We had done it the hard way. We spent all this time trying to figure out how to do this stuff and try not to bleed and sweat and cry over deals. And here comes this guy into my life, and it was just so easy, so it clicked with me so well. It was so simple. I got to either do it the hard way still or do it Ron's way. So once I started seeing that, then we just went crazy with the stuff he was teaching us. And we let our creative juices kick in. And so if it's all right with you, I'm going to teach you some of that stuff. It might make you some money, but you may not want to know.
No, go ahead.
You want to hear it? Okay. Kind of thought that might be nice. All right, so this is important. Write this down. The buyer is where most of the money comes from. Duh. Okay, it's not where all the money comes from, but it's where most of the money comes from. So if the buyer is that important, shouldn't you put a lot of effort into getting as many buyers into your life as possible? You might have a small buyers list, and you might have a small amount of houses that you're trying to sell. The more, the better. But here's the crazy thing. The buyers, when you start building a huge buyers list, the buyers are going to start bringing you houses for sale. Now, how is that possible? Well, over and over again, when you have this many buyers calling you like what we've got, over and over again, they're living in houses that they're renting. They may even sign up for a lease purchase deal. Now, Marion just got done telling you with credit repair that 98% of the people that do credit repair don't know what they're doing. 98% of the people out there that are trying to mimic what we do, lease purchase, don't know what they're doing. So they'll lease purchase a house to someone. They won't collect a big down payment. So the lease purchase tenant still has money. And when the lease purchase tenant is in the house paying rent every month, they don't know that the mortgage needs to be paid on the house. So the owner of the house who's lost their job is not paying the mortgage anymore on the house. Now, what's going to happen to the lease purchase tenant who wants to buy a house through a lease purchase program? What's going to happen to them? They're going to get kicked out. Now, some of them find out ahead of time because the owner of the house is talking to them saying, uh-oh, I just got this notice, I don't know what to do, I'm afraid you're going to have to move out. Sometimes that happens. Well, those people call us because they find us through our marketing efforts. They call us and say, hey, is there any way you can buy the house that we live in so that we can stay in there and then we can buy it from you? Because they think we're just going to go cash the deal out. Okay? Well, sometimes I can negotiate a decent deal with the seller. Depends on how messed up it is. Is it upside down? Do they owe $20,000 for a house that's worth $100,000? The buyer's already in place. Okay? So that is a way of acquiring houses there. Second thing is, what if they lose it to the bank? Isn't the tenant buyer still a buyer? Doesn't have a house anymore to live in. He's got to get out. What are you going to do with them? They're a buyer on your buyer's list now. And they're already understanding lease purchase. Okay? So, here's another way. Now, we talked about this down payment growth program. They missed out on one of our houses. These are people who are wanting to buy a house. They have money to put down, or they say they do. Now, there's plenty of time wasters out there, and we've been talking about assume the whole world is full of crap until proven otherwise. So they missed out on one of our houses. They've seen it online, whatever the case may be, through one of our advertisements. They came in, they tried to get it, they found out it was gone. Well, what can I do to get the next house? So then I have other houses, probably for sale at that time. They take a look at my other houses. So I want you to think about this. When they take a look at another house, but they're not in my down payment growth program, then what do you think would be a smart thing to show them, to motivate them to want to go into my down payment growth program? I know how about all the buyers are going to have to compete with. Thank you very much, Lisa. Compete with. So if I have 2,200 plus buyers on a buyer's list, and they just missed out on the house that they wanted, the next house is available, and they've got to compete with that big list, I let them know. I show them my list. So now, if they know that they got to compete with the list, how can I make it possible for them to not have to compete with the list and not worry about it, not lose another house they could have had and they missed out on it because somebody beat them out on it? I know. Pay me your down payment up front to prove to me that you're not full of crap. And now, when the next house comes up that's like the one that you've told me you want in the area you said, I give you 24 hours to decide. Go look at it, decide if that's the one you want. Now, are there different little circumstances that happen? I've got a couple right now going on a cruise at the beginning of April, and they want to be assured that if the house comes up, they're just going to be, of course, we're going to wait. We're going to wait for them, within reason. But now, these people are convinced that they don't have to compete with anyone by joining my down payment growth program. So now they go and take a look at the house. All right, is this house the one that I want? No, it's not. I don't like that house. It's got green carpet and I want red. Whatever. So they are still in the down payment growth program. Their money is still sitting there, and now we look for another house for them. Now, what do I do with the house? I move on to the next person in the down payment growth program if it fits them. Whoever's been in the longest, not the one who has the most money, gets first dibs on it. So now I go to the next one and the next one until we've completed our down payment growth program. Then I go to my regular buyers list, and now we email out to all of them. Okay? So step number 1, show your buyers list to them once they've missed out on something that you had available. Step number 2, explain the competition. Step number 3, offer the down payment growth program and give 24 hours for them to decide. Okay? Make sense so far? Anybody lost on that one? Okay. All right. Secret buyers program. This is another technique that we use to build a buyers list. Now, these are probably, there's probably 3 or 4 techniques I'm showing here. I don't have 10 or 12 hours to show you this. Ron would kill me if I tried to do that. So let me just go through some of these here for you. All right. We had all these people coming in with all these different sad stories. Probably has happened to some of y'all. They thought they could go to the bank and get a loan. They thought they could qualify for a regular loan. They didn't know that the news was talking to them also when they said that it was hard for the banks to give loans out right now. People just assumed that they had a 700, 750 credit score. I had a guy with an 802 credit score. Loan to value ratio on the property he was trying to buy, 65%. He got approved. No problem. Except the bank couldn't write the check. 3 banks in a row. Talk about embarrassing. That is embarrassing to people when they think they can do it and they can't because the bank can't write the check. And that's all into that gridlock where the secondary market dried up and selling off notes and following FDIC rules. We're not going to get into that. That's 3 days right there. All right. So when these people would come in and tell us their sob stories, their humiliation and embarrassing stories, started thinking about it. It's like, I wonder how many people who will never go to a bank again won't come to me either because they don't know if I'm going to approve them or not. They don't know if you're going to approve them or not. How many people are around you right now that know that you're out there, that you've done some marketing maybe already, and don't know if you're going to accept them or not? Are you going to embarrass them? So we created the Secret Buyers Program. All right, so the Secret Buyers Program works like this. First thing you got to do is you got to build a house selling website. So you got to have that. FFN offers one, but you've got to have a presence online to sell houses with. All right. Second thing, you got to load your houses that are for sale on there. Maybe the houses are already sold. There's nothing wrong with putting it on there and writing the word sold on it. By the way, well, I'll get into that in a minute. So whether the house is sold or not, there's nothing wrong with some of that being on there. And your description of what you offer up, the terms you offer, how it is that somebody who can't get qualified for a loan through a bank can get qualified to buy one of your houses. Okay? So now the next thing is, you've got the website up, it's running, and it shows houses for sale. Then you place on that website the message to the person who is embarrassed or humiliated by the regular lending institutions. Actually, there's a lot of realtors and embarrassed people out there too. It's a shame it's happening, but it's happening. They can't afford to drive them around if they think they can't qualify. So they'll do a little pre-qualification thing and not take them around because they don't think there's a chance. All right? So the message says to them that you can apply through us, through this website, secretly. No one, you will never talk to a human being. You will not leave your phone number, and your email address will not be asked for either. No one will know that you came to that website. So the only person that knows they went to the website is them. And they're going to apply with our application on my website, and they're going to do one thing. They're going to create their own secret password. And their password is going to be my very first one that we did this with. His name was Seaferry, or his code, or her code. I don't even know if it was a guy or a girl. The code was Seaferry. So Seaferry, this person made up that code. I have no clue who it is. To this day, I don't know who it is. I'll never know. They post the code on the website, and that code is tied to their application that gets emailed to us from my website. So now my office manager prints that out, reviews it. They've answered all the questions that we've asked on the application, how much money they had to work with down, how much money they had to work with a month, what their credit score looks like, the credit looks like, and what kind of house they want and where. So now we can easily look at that and determine, yes, it is possible for you to buy one of our houses if their numbers are good. I'll throw out some numbers to you. If I got somebody who's looking for a house that's maybe a $125,000 house, they got $10,000 put down and they can afford $1,200 a month, can I take that person all day long? Absolutely. So my answer back to Seaferry, posted on my website, says, Seaferry, you're approved, you can buy one of our houses. Now, Seaferry is Seaferry going to get humiliated or embarrassed by us now? Do they know 100% for sure they're not going to get kicked in the teeth by us? So now the next step for them is to contact our office. Now they have to contact our office. Once we've gotten rid of the humiliation and embarrassment part of it. So we set this up. We started the 29th of September. And I thought it was going to take, and this was a little creative thinking, building, growing little program that we're bouncing off of each other for about 4 hours. We went through this. How can we do this? How can we make it where they're secret, they're private, and all that? So we played this whole game here. We posted the 29th of September, and I figured a week or so, we start within a few hours. I think that night we had 12 applications. Over and over and over again. Every single morning we come in, there are more printouts. Now, what the numbers are, we receive, not just from that technique, but total, over 100 buyers a week now are communicating with our office, new ones coming in. Now, out of that 100, there's at least 25% of them are coming from the secret buyer program. These people do not want to be embarrassed or humiliated, and they've been told no. Some of them have never applied and never talked to a realtor. The media has convinced them that they're not going to get a loan if they try. Okay? So, build a house selling website, load houses, whether they've been sold or not. You can even load your house if you wanted to, if you don't have any houses. Why not? If your house is worth $150,000, would you take $175,000 for your house right now? So it is for sale then, technically, if you would want to. You could use it as a house that you could put on there if you wanted to. All right? Do you have to take the person? Of course not. All right? You put your message on there that's directed towards the person who wants to apply secretly, and then you set up the website where the application and the secret code, secret password can go in. All right? Now, here's a tip. When you sell a house, do you really want to hurry up and take the signs down and stop the advertisement online and stop all that stuff right away? No. Why not? More buyers are coming in. Okay, so how many people are realtors in here? All right, so your signs, if you're using your realtor signs on your properties, your signs, it's obvious that you do not, that you have more houses for sale because you're a realtor. All the rest of us that use all those handwritten signs and everything, we don't necessarily look like somebody who has more houses. So how about the words sold, but we have more, or we have other houses, or we have other properties? Because remember, our signs don't look like a realtor sign. So there's absolutely nothing on our sign that tells people that we definitely have more houses for sale when you see the sign that's placed in front of the house. Okay? All right. Here's what I know. This is important. Write this down. There are 4 ways to fail at this business. Everybody's used to 3, right? So what's the first way to fail at this business? Personally guaranteed debt. Okay? Write a big check. Don't make a promise you can't keep. And the 4th way. Buy stuff that you don't know what the market says it's worth. So if I want to sell Rick's sweater right there, and I want to fabricate Rick's sweater, and I want to put that out to the world, I know how much it costs me to make that sweater, buy the material, pay for the tools, pay for the place it's going to be done at, and then I'm going to market the sweater. Now, after all that, this is how much it costs me. How much can I get for the sweater? Don't I want to know that first? Would I be foolish to spend $30 on making that sweater and marketing it, and then put the sweater up for sale, and nobody wants to give me any more than $20 for it? Okay, well, why can't you do that with houses? Why wouldn't you be building your buyer's list? At the same time you're learning how to acquire houses, build your buyer's list. It doesn't take much money at all. As a matter of fact, over 70% of the techniques that we teach you doesn't cost a dime to do. And you will never do more than about 10% of the techniques that we teach you. Because you just can't possibly keep up with all those buyers. Truly, we do about 20%, and I have a staff. We do about 20% of the techniques, but we switch them up constantly. Everything that we teach, we've tested, we've done, we've proven that it works, and then we teach it. So why wouldn't you want to build a market for what you're trying to sell and find out? So I let the market speak by my buyer's list telling me what they have to put down and how much they can afford a month before I think it's a deal or not. Does that understand? Okay? All right. So here's what we're offering. We're offering a system. It's a home study system, and it's called the Massive Buyer Generating System. Now, you just heard me talk about it a little while ago, that we sold 3 houses on Friday, but not really. Only 2. The third one, it ain't done until it's done, and the guy wants to meet me. His name is Doc. He wants to meet me on Monday morning. So he's given $1,000 against the house. He wants to put $20,000 down. His wife told my outside sales rep, $25,000. And if we need more, we've got more. Now, what does that mean to her? What does that mean to you? What's that mean right there? She's falling in love with that house, and if it's in, like it is in my household, she's going to win. So, and we want her to win. We're in her corner. I just want you to know that. But anyway, so they want me to be there Monday morning. It just adds some legitimacy. It's a shame it happens sometimes, but it does. I mean, you can't stay away from your business 100% of the time, but most of the time we do. But anyway, so this person wants to give me $20,000 for a house that costs me $0 as a down payment. And then he wants to pay me $1,250 a month. It's a $154,000 house or so. So I haven't talked to him at all, so I know that I'm going to get the $1,200 a month, and I'm going to treat him just like the owner of the house. I may put it in his name to convert the deed, and I may not in the beginning. But I'm going to put him in the house and tell him, I'm treating you just like the owner. You want to be the owner of the house, right? Treating you just like the owner. All owners are responsible for taxes and insurance. So we're going to put that on there, and as long as he doesn't have a problem with it, then the payment's going to be $1,200 a month plus taxes and insurance. If he does have a problem with it, I can live with $1,200 a month. Okay? All right. So our buyers do things just like that over and over. Every week. We've got, this week alone, we've got 4 buyers putting money against houses that we're not taking yet. We're taking the money, application receipt agreement, but we're trying to decide who's going to get the house. And it's a little competition thing going on amongst each person. This past week, there was 20,000 pledged, 5,000, 3,000, and another 5,000. So I don't even know what that added up to, but that's just this past week. While I've been sitting here, I've been here with Ron for 5 days. I think he's more tired than me. But anyway, so the Massive Buyer Generating System home study course is worth over $5,000. And that is, that's 10 CDs, manual, and everything you need to know about how to build a massive buyer. Like I said, 70% of the techniques on there don't cost a dime to do. In addition to that, we have a one-day event. The one-day event is come to my office complex, and you look over my shoulder while me and my staff do what that home study course taught you how to do. So seeing is believing right there. There's nothing more powerful than watching us physically do it, and yes, we don't look any smarter than you, maybe not even as smart as you, and we can do it. So if we can do it, you can do it. So you get to watch that. That also is valued at around $5,000. Our next event, one-day event, for building a buyer's list is 7 May. It's a Friday, and we're just outside of Savannah, Georgia. Now, because you're used to this, and because he's very wrenching, the home study course by itself, we wanted $2,000 on it. But you're getting it for $1,297, and you can thank Ron the Grand for that. In addition to that, here you can get the bonus day for free. So that day, that bonus, that one day's event is a bonus, and you get that for free. That's thrown in when you buy the $1,297 home buyers, massive generating buyers list for $1,297, and you get that one day for free. Now, when you come to my office complex, you come into our office operation, and you see our whole operation, how it operates. You meet my staff, you see what they do, and then we walk through, we cut through a kitchen and go into my classroom, and that's where the class takes place, right in my office complex. My buyers show up to the event, and I sell my house to them at the event, right in front of your eyes. So it doesn't get any more real than that. Now, let me just stop right there for a minute. I went kind of fast on that. I don't have a lot of time, but let me take a couple questions. Yes?
You said that some of the people are in the lease auction already will come to you because the house they're going to lease auction on it before going.
Every week we get 1 or 2 of those calls.
Aren't they very serious about giving you another cycle down payment, another cycle auction?
Yeah, well, remember I told you, just... Okay, the question is, the people that have come to me who are in a lease option, a lease purchase option, and that owner of that house hasn't been making the mortgage payment, and now they're trying to come to me for buying one of my houses or doing a lease purchase on one of my houses. The question is, are they nervous about doing that, and are they going to want to put another deposit down? The answer is yes, but most of the time, the people out there doing what we do, the lease purchase, they only see our signs, they see a couple of our ads, they've acted like they're a seller or what have you, and they call our office to kind of try to figure out what we're doing, and then they go out and try to mimic us without any training at all, and they don't really know what they're doing, so they're not collecting plenty of skin in the game. They're not asking for large down payments, they don't even know to do that. They think they're leasing it, so they're getting a security deposit, 1 month's rent or what have you. That is not the way you do a lease purchase. Now remember, I'm not talking about work for equity. Now you might take a low down payment or a no down payment depending on how much work and all that kind of stuff. I'm talking about a pretty house that is a lease purchase agreement, and I'm getting plenty of skin in the game. For example, that $20,000 I just talked about, that's a lease purchase down payment. I'm not converting that deed right away. I got to see that this guy is going to follow through with his word before I convert that deed, before I sell it to him, before I close on him buying it. Does that make sense? So they haven't spent a bunch of money on that other house. All right. Now that's not everyone, but that's most of them. Okay. Another question? No other questions? Everybody's tired and wants to go home. Okay. So just to recap on our course, you get the massive buyer generating system for $1,297, and you get the one-day event for free.